Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a fantastic Thursday so far. Today we're going to be diving into our daily cryptocurrency market update, where we not only explore the realms of the cryptocurrency market, but we also look at the external financial world around us. Also cover some geopolitical events and a number of other things as they all have an effect on our significant but still very small cryptocurrency space. This is going to be a really interesting one that you guys are going to want to pay attention to, because what is going on with the Federal Reserve right now has a significant impact upon the crypto space. We know that markets essentially adjusted, not just crypto markets across the board, have essentially adjusted and seen a bit of a pullback, or in some cases, a lot of a pullback due to the Federal Reserve talking about upping interest rates. This was before we had geopolitical tensions thrown into the mix, which, in regards to crypto, there's kind of a silver lining. It's horrific what's going on. There's no other way to describe that. But there is kind of a silver lining with the fact that a lot of countries out there are getting their economies destroyed as a result of this. And Bitcoin may offer a lifeboat, and it's been something we've been speculating on for a while. We're going to be going over a number of articles. We're going to be looking at the Turkey inflation rate. We're going to be looking at the West that essentially is trying to destroy Russia's economy. We already know about this with some of the sanctions that they're imposing. We're also going to talk towards the end of the video, once we've got over Jerome Powell's comments in direct response to cryptocurrency, which I think you guys will find very interesting and very much backs up what we've been saying day in, day out, and that is that cryptocurrency is a revolution. Blockchain is a technological revolution, akin to the ones before it, like the internet, the PC revolution, the motoring industry, the railroad industry, you name it, guys, the telecom industry, and it's going through the teething problems that are associated with that. We're also going to be looking at the end of the video, economic destruction may lie ahead as oil prices surge. Oil is very, and how well and how expensive oil is very tethered to how well or how not so well an economy is or isn't doing. I hope you guys are getting value out of this content, because I do think it's important for many of you guys that this is your first kind of venture into investing, to really get a good grasp of everything that's taking place here and hopefully become better investors as a result of it. So we've got a number of things going on. We're going to be diving into some of the technicals for Bitcoin. You guys know the kind of schematic that we're following for Bitcoin. We're looking for this W double bottom. This is a sort of schematic, if you will, from the Crypto Sniper as one of many possible scenarios that can take place. And traders and investors will always look at all sides of the coins. Nothing is a guarantee, or all sides of the dice, I should say, as coins only really have two sides. Nothing really is a guarantee, but there is probability-based guesses that may play off. You guys know that we've got a potential head and shoulders setting up for Cardano that we're looking for. We're going to get into it all, also going over the traditional markets, but really where I want to start is with Jerome Powell's statements. By the way, guys, if you can please leave me a like and a comment, and of course share this video, it helps me out massively with the YouTube algorithm that is being somewhat unfavorable to me at the moment. Hey ho, we're still going to make these videos, as I know some of you get value out of it, and even if one person gets value out of it, it's worth my time. So let's get into some of Jerome Powell's comments in direct response to cryptocurrency. Very interesting how he describes it. Also interesting how he's kind of ushering in and really championing regulatory framework, which crypto needs to gain that sort of next level of mass adoption. It can't really exist in the shadows because, you know, there's a lot of players that can't really venture over into that. Somebody like myself can. It's where I blossom, but others can't. So let's get into it, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened to the ruble. We saw what happened to the market. The market's still closed. Is a way around it for them cryptocurrency? Could you talk a little bit about that? I know it's a little bit out of your bailiwick, but as you said, it's an interesting moment in time. You know, we haven't had to face this since really World War II, and even all the comments that you made about inflation and watching the market, so much of it is tied to obviously what the Russians are doing with respect to their unwarranted and criminal act there in Ukraine.
So I don't have any private information on the extent to which that is happening, but that is something you read about and hear about. And I just think it underscores the need really for congressional action on digital finance, including cryptocurrencies. We have this burgeoning industry which has many parts to it, and there isn't in place the kind of regulatory framework that needs to be there. It was probably no different with railroads or telephones or the internet. And ultimately, what's needed is a framework, and in particular, ways to prevent these unbacked cryptocurrencies from serving as a vehicle for terrorist finance and just general criminal behavior, tax avoidance and the like. So I guess that's what I would say there. I don't really know the extent to which it's happening, although you do hear that and read it in the paper.
Seems like an outform since we did go down this road. Could you?
He's now going to very quickly talk about CBDCs, which I think is still an important thing for you guys to get acquainted with as they are coming. Governments do have great benefits from implementing CBDCs, such as that extra kind of grasp of control. But very interesting what Jerome said there, because he likened crypto, and we've done it from the start of this channel, and really since I've been into crypto, I very early realized that this was a technology that's gripping and going to grip the world. Reason being is it's an evolution, essentially. It's more of a sufficient technology for a number of things. I come from the dental trade. You could improve the dental trade, whether that be record keeping, whether that be supply chain, with blockchain, and essentially cut out a lot of the kind of costs associated with maintaining those kind of aspects of the dental industry. So very interesting that he likened it to the railroad industry, the internet, and it's exactly what's going on. Now, this was taken so out of context. It so annoys me when you get your little Twitter guys who are like, they've got hundreds of thousands of followers. All they do is just repost news articles, which it's needed. I quite like looking through and, quite enjoy a lot of it. But they're essentially saying, look, Jerome Powell saying he's going to, crypto's used just for illicit activity and, this sort of stuff. Not the case. What he's saying is he is championing regulatory framework for it so that it doesn't get used for those things. Now, there is going to be casualties in the sort of grey area there caught up within this, but ultimately we need regulatory clarity in order for this space to scale that next kind of level of mass adoption, in my opinion. And it's very, very, he recognizes, it's amazing. I've been in crypto for that long that, I say that long, but 5 years isn't a huge amount of time. But I've been in crypto when this would be a dream to even be getting mentioned in some of these hearings. It's now happening and is at the forefront of a lot of them. And this is overall bullish, in my opinion. So let's listen to the next sort of bit about him talking about regulatory, a CBDC. CBDCs are coming, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think and this is really speculative, I ultimately think that they're going to have to do something. Having the dollar as the world reserve currency gives America a lot of power, gives the West a lot of power in general and their allies. They need to keep that, and a threat to that is not going to be tolerated very well. You can look throughout history, and I don't want to get too political here, every country that has ever tried to move away from the dollar and create their own currency or move away and go into their own system has been completely toppled through a number of different means. So they're going to have to do the same with crypto, but I think that comes way down the line. I have my own theories for how that unfolds, and I'd really like to make a video where it's just me talking to you guys about it. I've sort of speculated it within my Discord about how I think this happens. But anyway, we're getting way off topic. We've got quite a lot to cover still. We're going to be getting into the markets. Let's just hear some of these final statements in regards to a CBDC, and then we'll move on to the rest of the video.
You comment a little bit about then the central bank digital currency. It seems like that would be something that would be helpful in situations like this.
Yes, so we issued a paper after much thought and many drafts. We issued a paper, was it late last year? I guess it was late last year, seeking public comment on the costs and benefits of a potential central bank digital currency issued by the Federal Reserve here in the United States, digital dollars. And we await, I think we gave an extended comment period, and we very much look forward to reading those comments. This will be something that we invest a fair amount of time and expertise and hiring people and things like that to try to get it right, but also to understand whether the benefits actually outweigh the costs, which I think is an unanswered question both here and around the world. Nonetheless, it's our obligation to move vigorously to understand the answers to that question so that we can deploy a central bank digital currency if it's appropriate. So would it, in principle, it depends on why people are using unbacked digital currencies. If they're using them to evade, visibility and evade the law, then for us just to have a law-abiding CBDC won't change that. They'll still be able to use.
That is 100% not why people are using Bitcoin. Any currency, you are going to get your illicit actors. The majority of people understand that Bitcoin is a system that is untethered from governments around the world, which right now, given everything that is going on, is an extremely good idea in a world, ladies and gentlemen, where trust is an issue. Decentralization matters because you don't have to trust anyone. Certainly with Bitcoin, it does what it does. Code is law in that sense. So CBDC is coming. It's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds. How do they then get people to switch over to the CBDC? That's going to be another question that's going to be interesting to answer. Also, if the likes of Russia do decide that they do want to indeed adopt Bitcoin, there is a liquidity issue there because we are still an exceptionally small market in regards to the likes of the FX market and a number of other things. Markets across the board, we're a small market. What does the US then do in response to that? Because that could be quite crippling, but we'll see. History is in the making, guys. There's never been more of an exciting time to be alive than right now, and people need to smile about that, in my opinion. So let's get into some technicals very quickly and then go over some news articles. We are looking for a W double bottom here for Bitcoin. People go, oh no, that's not happening. This is not significant, and in fact it's actually significant in the sense that a W double bottom will often pull back from where it formed before setting up structure for that continuation. That is what we're looking at. This is quite a good schematic from the Crypto Sniper. He's pointing out various remarks within this, such as the fact that, you know, maybe confirming and confluent factor to the fact that Bitcoin may be forming this W double bottom, and then potentially a macro kind of head and shoulders, or not a macro, an inverse head and shoulders, with this being your left shoulder, this being your head, and this being your right shoulder. Is the fact that you've actually seen a retaliation to this kind of line, neckline, if you will, in a kind of strong manner that it has. It's been very strong and kind of validates a W double bottom. And it's really setting up quite well, even with this pullback. And people go, oh, no, it's not right. People want instantaneous gratification. So when you say something, they want it to happen there. Doesn't work like that. Time is in the equation when you're looking at charts, and people often forget about that. In regards to the likes of Cardano, we'll cover it in more detail in our Cardano video. We are looking for this sort of head and shoulders situation. We've got, oh no, it's sold off. How does that make sense? Well, what we were calling for was this right shoulder forming now, forming over the coming days, leading to that breakout that would have a target around about $1.22. Let's take a look at the FTSE. FTSE opened down today. Undoubtedly, geopolitical and macroeconomic events do have a weighing on everything that's taking place. They are still there. They've not gone anywhere. S&P actually saw quite a spike up yesterday. The dollar is seeing a little bit of strength today, but what I like about this, in terms of the fact that I'm in Bitcoin and I want to see this sort of dollar strength go to the downside, dollar's had quite a good run here. You're now getting your marginally higher highs. You're getting 3 of them, and you're kind of setting up this kind of a structure that I think may spill. Now, this could be on the back of the FOMC, where the Federal Reserve is going to talk about this month, and they are set to up interest rates. Now, they spoke about upping them by 50 basis points, which is 0.5%, or 25 basis points, which is 0.25%. They may not be able to do that, given everything that's going on, and oil being a big one, because this is going to start hurting people in the pocket. Many of your bills have already gone up in the Western world and across the world generally. That is going to continue, and certainly oil is a driver of that. Oil is in everything. It's in plastics. It's in everything, guys. And even if you might go, okay, well, our industry doesn't use that, you know, we're totally green and whatever. The bottom line is, how do your goods get shipped to you? How does, you know, it's in everything. It affects the leisure industry, the travel industry, you name it, it affects it, guys. The motoring industry. So if the price of oil goes up, everything kind of has to go up in accordance, which is why the Federal Reserve may not be so quick to implement that 50 basis point rise and may go for a 25 basis point rise. They said they're going to sort of try and mimic the 1970s inflationary style landing, which is going to be very interesting. So here we've got the Turkey's inflation rate hits a new 20-year high of 54%. Bitcoin is the answer here, guys, because Bitcoin is independent of any one government and their actions. And, you know, this is Turkey essentially have got a stance. I think it may be to do with religious reasons, because they don't use Ushuri, they don't really, or Ushuri, they don't really in the religion of Turkey, or the main religion of Turkey, it's hugely frowned upon, and that I don't think they're upping interest rates. So this is why we're seeing continuous inflation sort of gripping things. We've also got the Ukraine, it says Ukraine analysis. The West is trying to destroy Russia's economy, and analysts think it could succeed. They're already doing it, guys. People get very tribalistic, and on one side or the other of the fence, there's casualties on both sides. And what you've got to remember is lots of people are suffering through no fault of their own here on both sides. And you need to remember that. Lots of brave individuals on Twitter right now and across the board that I would argue have no concept of war whatsoever, yet they have the biggest opinions I've ever heard, and it's pathetic. You know, it's the most hypocritical stuff I've ever seen. It always happens in these times, and they always, you know, they're just drip fed whatever anybody wants to tell them. But anyway, that's my little rant for the day. I'm sure you guys, some of you will appreciate it, some of you probably won't. I do try and stay apolitical, and I am apolitical on this, and I do think ultimately this is a horrific situation that's taking place. And anytime people are losing their lives, it's something I'm not very happy with. A human life is very special, and whether you think it is or you don't, it is. And then back to the oil sort of thing, this is going to affect everything and also ultimately affect the Federal Reserve's policy moves. All I have for you in this video, guys, I'm going to love and leave you. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Please make sure to like, share, and comment on these videos. And I'll love and leave you and see you all in the next YouTube video. Link to my Discord in the description.